Welcome to an exclusive deep dive into Chapter 3 of The Discipline of Time, the groundbreaking new book by Terence Shadwell, now available on Amazon. In this explainer, we're going to discover the principles, the mindset, and the mastery that can completely redefine how you think about time. And we're starting with a big one. Have you ever had that feeling, deep down, that you're capable of so much more, but something's holding you back? Well, we're about to explore exactly how to stop playing small and unlock all that potential that's just waiting inside you. So yeah, we're jumping right into Chapter 3, which is literally titled Stop Playing Small. And really, it's a direct challenge, isn't it? It's a challenge to all those comfortable little routines we built for ourselves. It's basically a call to action to finally answer that little voice that keeps whispering, there has to be something more.
And you know that feeling, right? That little pull in your gut, that quiet whisper that says there has to be more to life than just, getting through the day. It's something we all feel. It's a completely universal human experience.
And really, it all boils down to this one single nagging question. But here's the thing. We get so good at ignoring it, don't we? It's easier. It's way easier to get lost in that endless scroll on our phones, to just kind of numb ourselves with distractions, instead of actually facing that uncomfortable thought.
So what this really sets up is this huge conflict. On one side, you've got your comfort zone. It's safe, it's predictable, our brains are literally wired to love it because it saves energy. Dreaming? That's easy there. But on the other side, you've got uncomfortable growth. And that's risky. It takes real effort. The thing is, the difference between a life of regret and a life of achievement, well, it isn't luck, it's a choice. It's the choice to step out of that comfort zone. Okay, so how in the world do we actually make that choice? Well, the book gives us these incredible blueprints. These are real stories of real people who felt that exact same fear, that same doubt, but they decided to push past their limits anyway.
All right, first up, let's talk about Helen Thayer. Talk about hearing that call for something more. She answered it in one of the most extreme, unforgiving environments on the entire planet.
And here's what's absolutely incredible about her story. Her age. 50. At 50 years old, an age when a lot of people are thinking about slowing down, maybe taking it easy, Helen set out alone for the magnetic North Pole. We're talking no support crew, just her and her dog. All the experts told her it was reckless, that it was impossible, but she went anyway. It just proves that so often, the limits we see are just suggestions, and we don't have to accept them.
And this just perfectly captures her whole philosophy. Helen's story is the absolute textbook definition of what psychologist Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset. It's this core belief that our abilities aren't set in stone, right? They can be developed through hard work and dedication. She just completely refused to be boxed in by her age or by fear, and she challenged this whole idea that our potential is, well, static.
Okay, now for another blueprint for just shattering limits, David Goggins. And let me tell you, his story is one of the most radical, most intense personal transformations you will ever hear about. And it was all fueled by pure, raw self-discipline.
Just look at the contrast here. It's insane. Before his transformation, Goggins was working a pest control job. He weighed almost 300 pounds, and he felt completely and utterly stuck. And after, he became a Navy SEAL, an elite ultra-endurance athlete. So how did he do it? He just decided to change. In only 3 months, he lost over 100 pounds just so he could qualify for SEAL training. Just think about that.
And this is the core of Goggins' message. He literally developed a philosophy of embracing pain, of embracing suffering, and using them as tools for growth. His entire life is proof that our real potential, it's buried under all these layers of comfort and excuses we make. And the only way to dig it out, you have to be willing to go through hell. So you look at the stories of Thayer and Goggins, and you see this really powerful common theme emerging, right? Real change doesn't come from sitting around waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from the power of a single decision, a single decisive action.
Let's take the legendary oceanographer Sylvia Earle as another example. She didn't just sit around and dream about exploring the deep ocean. No way. She acted. She broke into what was a completely male-dominated field with just this relentless determination.
So how did she do it? How did she turn all that uncertainty into concrete action? Well, her approach can pretty much be broken down into a framework like this. First, she defined the need. We have to explore and protect our oceans. Then, she analyzed the situation, gathered all the facts and evaluated her options. And then, and this is the crucial part, she acted.
no hesitation. In 1970, she led the very first all-female team of aquanauts, and they lived underwater for 2 weeks. She saw the opportunity, and she just grabbed it.
But this whole idea of acting on a big vision, it's not new. Not at all. In fact, let's go way back. We're talking the 9th century. Let's talk about Fatima al-Fihri, a woman whose one decision created a legacy that has lasted for more than 1,000 years.
Okay, so after inheriting a huge fortune, Fatima used a really similar framework to bring her vision to life. First, she reflected on what she truly valued, things like knowledge and community. Then, she envisioned a future where learning could be accessible to people. She articulated that vision in the most powerful way possible, by founding the world's first university. And then she planned it all out, overseeing the construction herself. She made a choice to invest in a vision that was so much bigger than her own life.
So when you pull all these stories together, what's the big takeaway? The crucial point is that exceeding your limits, it isn't some big mystical thing that just happens to you. It's all about taking that first step. It's about choosing action over hesitation every single time.
Okay, so the chapter lays out a really practical action plan for us. Number 1, push beyond your comfort zone. Just like Helen Thayer stepping into the Arctic at 50, you've got to find a way to challenge those limits you've set for yourself. Number 2, turn that restless feeling into action. Don't just ignore it. Use it as fuel to take small, concrete steps. 3, cultivate resilience. David Goggins teaches us that mental toughness isn't something you're born with, it's something you build by facing challenges, not running from them. And finally, number 4, commit to lifelong learning. You know, like Sylvia Earle and Fatima al-Fihri, just let yourself be driven by curiosity and a desire to build something that really matters.
And this all leads to the final challenge, the challenge for you. The book uses this great metaphor about wanting to go to New York. See, some people dream about it their whole lives, but they never even leave the house. But others, they take that first step, even when they have no idea how the rest of the journey will play out. So, I'm asking you, what's your New York? What's that one dream you've been putting off, waiting for the so-called right time? Because the only way you're ever going to silence that nagging voice is to act.
To learn more and really dive deep into these ideas, get your copy of The Discipline of Time today. It's available on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and ebook editions. And make sure to stay connected with Terry Shadwell at www.terryshadwell.com. And you can join the conversation on YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram for even more insights, talks, and inspiration.